All right, so really what I want to cover tonight, I might just put this on the single screen here. Beautiful. I'm just going to mute all your lines, guys, just so that as people join the call, we don't get completely bamboozled. Let me just get rid of that there. All right, fantastic. So listen, I want to just really spend the night, the next 30 minutes or so, really just going through a little bit of goal setting. A couple of ways. Look, there's a lot of different ways you can set goals. There's a lot of different ways you can sort of have your game plan for setting them. But I want to go through a few things on this call that might just help you make a little bit of a clearer path to setting goals. Because for a lot of people, setting goals is very hard to do. I've got to be honest with you. Before getting into Herbalife, I'd probably never set any goals the way that we do in Herbalife. But when you think about it, we're setting goals every single day. I set goals to get out of here by 8:30 in the morning. At the moment, I feel like a single parent because Carmen's over in Bali. I've got 3 kids to get ready for school and do all the stuff and that. And it's a challenge and a goal almost to be ready by 8:30. And then it's a challenge and a goal to have dinner ready by 6 o'clock. And then it's another challenge and another goal to have them ready in bed by 8:30 to be on this call. So really, everybody is setting goals every single day. They just don't see it as goal setting. But when you turn up to your job at 9 o'clock in the morning, you may not see that as a goal, but you had a deadline to be at your job by 9 o'clock and you got there at 5:02. So deadline achieved. If you rocked up at 5 past, deadline not achieved. So when you really think about it, we're setting goals every single day in our everyday life with everything that we're doing. I guess just in Herbalife, we try to make it a little bit more concrete so that you guys get a bit of a, an understanding of, sorry guys, I've just got a technical thing here. Give me half a second. Oh, there we go. Beautiful. We try to make it a bit more concrete so that they're definite goals and a structure to help you get to where you want to be. So I'm going to cover a couple of things tonight. We're going to cover the goals that you want to achieve over the next 1 to 10 years. Now, the reason we say 1 to 10 is because, we're here long term. You guys are here to build a business. You're here to build a lifestyle for you and your family. And if you've only got goals over the next 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, 2 years, you're not really factoring in the long-term vision for your business. So by saying some 10-year goals, you're starting to really think long-term about where you could be 10 years from now. And think back where you were 10 years ago to where you are now, what you've achieved, and then think about what you could achieve in the next 10 years with a little bit more of a game plan, a little bit more structure, and, the world's your oyster. We'll talk about the detailed description of those goals. And then at the end is the why you need to achieve and what's important about it for you. So let's walk out really what you want to do and achieve over the next 1 to 10 years. Basically, you want to write down all the goals that you want to achieve between now and 10 years from now. Now, if you want to do even longer than that, that's great, but 10 years is a good time frame. And the reason we say 1 to 10 years is I'll go through in a moment because you need some short-term goals because short-term goals turn into mid-range goals, turn into long-term goals, whatever they happen to be. If you think about somebody for weight loss, their ultimate goal might be to lose, 30 kilos. And, that halfway mark of 15 kilos is going to be where they really start to believe they can hit the 30 kilos. But their first goal might be 5 kilos. So you've got to have these incremental steps for the goal to be achieved. Because if you're just looking at the final goal, which could be 1 year down the track, 5 years down the track, 10 years down the track, you're going to blow your mind out trying to stay on track. But if you've got a few little goals in between and then a few intermediate goals in between, it's a lot easier to sort of pace them out. So I've got a circle of life here, which is what I base my goals on. For me, I sort of believe that this is what, makes up the circle of life. Maybe you've got some other pieces to the pie that you want to put in there. But for me, this pretty well makes up my life. And it's the circle of my life that I care about, physical, social, spiritual, mental, family, and my business goals and financial goals. So all my goals that I do for me are based around those areas. I've got my physical goals that I want to achieve. I've got my social goals, my spiritual goals, my mental goals, goals for the family, and obviously my business and financial goals. If you know any other pieces of the pie you want to slot in there, by all means add to them. But this is certainly where I see it for me. So you want to go crazy when it comes to writing down goals. When you first start, it's not about being specific. It's about writing down, I want a new car. It's about, I want a new house. I want to live on the Gold Coast. I want to travel. I want to go to the pyramids. I want to become good at playing the guitar. I want to skydive. I wanted to give up 2 hours a week working in a school, teaching kids. I want to teach music. I want to do some free nursing at some stations out in the middle. Whatever it happens to be, just write them down. You just want to fill your page up. Goals, 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 goals. That's the first step of writing down goals. Write everything down. I need a new dishwasher. I'd love a house cleaner. I want a walk-in robe. I don't want to have to do the cleaning anymore. I want a house cleaner. I want someone to wash my car. I want someone to be able to mow my lawns. I want to be able to go fishing twice a month. I want to go surfing once a month. Write them all down. You should have pages of them because you're not being really that specific. Then you want to move on to sort of, break them up into this areas, the things that you want to do and see, the things you want to have, the things you want to become, the things you want to give. These are probably 4 areas that you can sort of fill in quite easily. Do, have, become, and give. They're easy ones to sort of, add in there. And all that is based around that circle of life. So, with your family, what are the things you want to do with your family? What sort of results do you want to have with your family? What do you want to become? A good father, a good mother, a good sister, a good brother? What do you want to be able to give your family, with your mums and your siblings and stuff like that? So think about those areas, but break them down into those sort of 4 areas based around that circle of life. You start to get a little cluster of groups of where all your goals start to fit. And I find that that's really helpful for me. Then what you want to start doing, and this is why this can't be done in 15 minutes. I remember doing a goal setting workshop with Jim Rohn, and the workshop went for 5 hours. 5 hours. And, within that 5 hours, we probably spent a good hour writing goals. That was it, a good hour. It was basically go away, you've got an hour, come back. And everybody had between 103 and 400 goals because we were just writing down everything and anything. Then there was another half an hour spent sort of doing this, putting a little, number next to them. And I'd love to about achieve. I reckon I could achieve that in 1 year, and I'd be happy achieving that in 1 year. Or, I reckon that's more of a 3-year goal. That's something that I think I could achieve. And with goals, what you want to do is you want to make them so that they make you stretch, but not break you. So, for example, you're not going to lose 20 kilos in 1 month. You're just not. It's not going to happen. And if you tried to do it, you'd be disappointed and heartbroken. But could you lose 20 kilos over 5 months? Yes. So could you break that down to 4 kilos a month? Yes. Could you break that down to, I'm going to lose a kilo this week? Yes. Okay. That's an achievable goal. So it's going to stretch you because you're going to have to do some stuff to lose that kilo a week, 4 kilos a month. But it's not going to break you by trying to do 20 kilos in 4 weeks, right? The second one is, your 3-year goals, your 5-year goals, and your 10-year goals. So you just put a little 1, 3, 5 year next to them. It's really simple. Then you want to look at the balance. And this is really important to do this. And I remember Jim going through this with us, and he explained it really well. People that just have a lot of short-term goals tend to only have short-term thinking. They can't see a long way down the track. So they're not really, I guess, fantasizing about the future. They're not really focusing on the long-range goals. And when you're in a business for yourself, I can tell you now, Herbalife have got 20-year goals. They're already planning, stuff that they want to start doing 20 years from now. So, it's quite a visionary company when they set up their goals. Now, you don't have to go 20 years, but if you're in business for yourself, you'd certainly want to have a 5 or 10 year plan. Most businesses, when you do up a business plan, there's definitely a 1 to 2 year plan, and then there's normally a 3 to 5 year plan, and then there's the long term plan that you do from that. But you want to look at the balance of your goals, because if you've only got 1 to 3 year goals, you tend to be someone that maybe just wants everything now. You're scared of planning long, big-term goals in case they don't come true. You know, your 10-year plan might be that you would love to live in the Bahamas, or you'd love to live up on the Gold Coast, you know, but you're too scared to write that down because you're thinking, oh, yeah, but that'll probably never happen. But how can you judge what's going to happen over the next 10 years? You can't. You don't know. You don't know what's going to happen in the next 30 seconds. Someone could knock on your door. You didn't expect that coming, right? So you just don't know 10 years from now where you can be. So that's why it's important. Then you've got people that may have a lot of 5 and 10 years goals. These are sometimes people that tend to procrastinate. Yeah, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to give myself 5 years, and I'm going to give myself 10 years and 7 years. And they haven't got any short-term goals because they're scared to get started. They don't know how to get started. Maybe there's something holding them back on those particular goals. So you want to make sure that that balance is sitting nicely to where it's quite even. Okay, you might have a few more, but you don't want, 1 year goal, there's one, and you got 37 10-year goals. You want a nice, even balance over those goals. Then what I suggest you do is choose the 5 most important from each group. The 5 most important from each group, and a detailed description. So, for example, if it is a car, I want a 68 Camaro, I want black, I want bone interior, I want 18-inch spoke mags, I want the 360, Chev engine. You break it down and so that you've got a real clear picture of it, okay? And I would use this form. Now, I'm going to upload this to the coaches group. I think there's one in there. It's probably not exactly set out like this. This is the one that we got on the weekend, so I like this one a lot better. So I'm going to upload it. But there you go. You can put down the things you want to become, by when. And then the third part is, why do you want to achieve that goal? Why is it important to you? What does it mean to you? Because if your goal doesn't sort of give you some sort of a speed up in your heartbeat or something like that, it's probably not that of important a goal to you. If it doesn't give you some sort of a tingle or a bit of a shiver, or a shiver up the spine, or whatever it happens to be, you should be able to say, this is what I want to achieve. You should be able to close your eyes, and when you picture yourself actually already there, you should have a big smile on your face, and there should be that nice feeling inside. It should be something that gets you going, because if it doesn't, then when you do hit the hard times, it's really, really easy to go, well, it wasn't that important anyway. It was just a dream. And that's the difference between a dream and a goal. We always say in Herbalife, dream. If you're going to dream big. Why wouldn't you? It takes as much effort to dream small as it does dream big. So my advice is dream bloody big, right? Because it gets you more excited than dreaming small. I don't get excited about driving a Ford Festiva. I get excited about driving a 68 Camaro. That's what I get excited about, right? So you've got to find whatever floats your boat. And I'm not saying it has to be a car. I'm just using that as an example. But the date that you want to get it, and then why you want it. What's the reasons behind it? There's got to be some reason behind it. Can't be just because I want a house. Well, everybody wants a house, but why do you want it to be on the Gold Coast? Because I'm sick of winters in Adelaide. Great, then write that down. Why else do you want it to be on the Gold Coast? Because I love the sunshine, I love the surf, I love the soft sand, and I want to wake up to a sunrise, not a sunset like I do in Adelaide. Great. That's the stuff that you write down. The reason I want to live on the Gold Coast is I want my kids to experience, all year round sunshine. I want to be able to walk on the beach in the morning. I want to experience sunrises, not sunsets, that type of stuff. And really picture it. And do that with that list. So you should have 5 in each. So you've now got a list of 20 goals that really mean something to you. And they're spaced out from 1 to 10 years. Now, and the way you can do that, maybe you've got 1 to 3 year goals, a couple of 5-year goals, and 1 10-year goal in each of those departments. I don't know, whatever it is for you, but it's really important. And the most important is the why, which is on that form as well. I'm not going to go into more detail on it, but for me, it's about having the freedom from and the freedom to. Freedom from the things that I don't want to do, so I've got the freedom to do the things that I do want to do. My ultimate goal when I first started Herbalife, looking at it from a financial standpoint, my number one goal was just to make what I was making in my regular job so that I didn't have to go to a regular job. I'm just not a regular job type of guy. I'm just not, right? I don't like being told what to do. I don't like being told when to do it. I really struggle with that. So for me, it was about equaling the same income as a bartender so that I never, ever, ever had to go and answer to a boss. I could do my own thing, get up when I wanted to get up, work when I wanted to work late, work hard, but on my terms when I wanted to do that. And that's what I've been able to do for 30 years. And it's not about being at president's team, because I'm not at president's team yet. You don't need to be president's team to have freedom, okay? That might be your ultimate end game because of the amount of people that you want to help. But, freedom, could be for some people $500 a week, because maybe that's all they're working now in their part-time job. The partner's got a full-time job, or they own another company or another business, and one of the partners just working 2 or 3 days a week to bring in that $500 or $600 to cover the mortgage. And then all of a sudden they can earn that $500 or $600 from Herbalife. They never, ever, ever, ever have to go back to a regular job for the rest of their life, because they're earning the same amount of money that they were in that regular job. And now they've got the freedom to do the other things that they want. So that's what it is for me, okay? The other thing about achieving goals, and this is what Jim Rohn left us with, was the person you have to become to achieve those goals. Now, there's a lot of the goals I haven't achieved yet. Some I've achieved in the time frame that I said. There's others that I haven't achieved in the time frame that I thought I would. But that's okay. I've just reset those goals. But the great thing is, if you've got a list of 20 goals, and let's say they're based over the 1 to 5 years, I want you to picture 10 years from now, you're looking at that list and you grab your pen and you tick off your last one. All 20 of them have been achieved. What sort of person must you have become to achieve all of those goals? A pretty dynamic person in your own right for yourself. Doesn't matter, where you are on the scale of president's team, millionaires team, whatever. They're your goals and they're important to you. And if you're the person that gets down and you get to tick number 20 off that list, how can you not be happy with that? You've become the person that you needed to become to achieve those goals. Now, if you're someone that likes to keep achieving, then some of those goals are going to change because you're going to tick off some of those goals. And when I've ticked some off, guess what I do? I set some new ones. I've set some new goals that I want to achieve this in the next 12 months. I want to achieve this in the next 3 years because I've already achieved that one. I've already achieved that one. Now, what else can I do with that one? What can I extend on that? Or maybe there's some new goals. I've got some goal books that I've looked through, and some of the goals that I wrote down when I was 23, 24, 25, I look at them now and I think, what the hell was I thinking? Where was my head at? Well, it was where it was at when I was 23. It was a 23-year-old head that wrote those goals. It wasn't a 52-year-old head that wrote those goals. Now, some of those goals I achieved, some of them, as I look back, weren't that important to me. That's why I never achieved them. They didn't really mean that much to me. And then there's others that I can look at and go, oh, yeah, I achieved that one in exactly the time frame I did because that one really meant something to me. Because your goals do change. And it's okay to look at that goal list in 6 months' time and you go, you know what? That's not what I was really wanting. This is what I'm really wanting. Because as you're doing the personal development and you're growing, of course your goals are going to change. Be sad if they didn't. I'm glad I don't think like a bartender anymore because like I said, when I looked at some of those goals, they're certainly not things I want to achieve today. So don't be afraid to change those goals. Now, here's the big thing. Here's the kicker. This is the bit. Because we all want the goals. Now, I put down here, Herbalife goals, supervisor, world team, active world team, get team. That's just because this is a business training that we're doing. But you can put whatever goals you want down there. And this is you over on the left-hand side. And between you and those goals is this massive mountain called obstacles. Now, those obstacles, they could be work obstacles, they could be family obstacles, they could be, challenges, physical, personal, whatever they happen to be. But what I do know is that you've got to gather the information and get very clear on what you need to learn and who you need to become to get over those obstacles to reach those goals. Now, the great thing about Herbalife is that you've got someone that might be already a little bit up that hill. They can put their hand out and say, hey, come on up, I can help you. Can I help someone lose 50 kilos? Yes, I can. Okay, I've helped many people lose 50 kilos. So I can put my hand out to someone and say, hey, come on up. I can help you lose those 50 kilos and be quite confident in that because I know what I've got to do to help them. They probably can't see themselves losing the 50 kilos, but I know I can help them. Now, let's say it's a business thing. This is where your personal development comes in. This is where reading the books, attending the classes, attending the webinars like this, getting on the YouTube and watching the videos and doing the personal development so that you learn the skills to get you over those obstacles. Because personal development is not about reading a book. Personal development is not about turning up to a class. It's not about watching the videos. It's about learning from the videos, the books, and the classes to help you get over the obstacle, whatever your obstacle is. Now, if you do a whole heap of reading and a whole heap of studying and you go to all these classes and you watch all these videos and you read all these books and you don't get over the obstacle, then you might as well have not read the books because the obstacle's still there. So you've got to keep searching. Simple as that. If you've still got the obstacle, it's still there and you're not working your way up that obstacle for whatever the goal is, then you have to keep searching for the answers. And eventually you'll find the answers that get you over the hill to that goal. And then when you reach that goal, there's another one. So I'll use the marketing plan as the example. Obstacle number one is to get to senior consultant. Got to do 500 volume. On average, you're probably going to need 3 to 5 clients. Okay? So your first obstacle is what? Is to find those first 3 to 5 clients. Your next goal might be to get to supervisor. Well, on average, you're probably going to need maybe 10 clients that are regularly using the products for 1 or 2 months or 3 months, and you're going to be supervisor. So your next obstacle is what? Is to find those 10 clients. Next obstacle is to learn how to do follow-up. Next obstacle is how to, help them stay on track. But there's plenty of people to help you do that. Plenty of people have done it before you. That's the great thing about Herbalife. It's not like you've got to pave your own path. It's been done 1,000 times for you. So you just got to follow the successful people. Then your next one is World Team. Then your next one is Active World Team. Now, when it goes to Active World Team, you've got a couple of obstacles. You've got to learn how to recruit because you're going to need some supervisors to be Active World Team. You've got to learn how to duplicate because they've got to be doing some volume for you to get to Active World Team. And you have to have some stable business, your Herbalife house. So all these obstacles are going to come your way. And the only way you're going to learn to get over them is attend the classes, read the books, do the trainings, get around the people that have already done it before you, ask the questions, and keep moving forward. Now, if you come up against an obstacle that you don't know how to get over, then that's when you speak to someone and say, hey, how did you get over this obstacle? What book did you read? What class did you take? You could Google the obstacle. My obstacle is I don't know how to stop eating junk food. And I guarantee if you Googled that in, there'd be a million answers. Read through them. Maybe one of them's going to work for you. I don't know. I don't know how to get to supervisor in Herbalife. If you Googled that, guess what? I guarantee you there'd be 100 answers. So read through them, figure out which one suits you and do it. So you can't say it's not through lack of knowledge because it's all out there. You've just got to access it. And if you don't know how to access it, then ask somebody that's willing to help you and support you because they will help you get over those obstacles. And it's a lot easier climbing a hill with 2 or 3 people all working together than it is scraping yourself up there bit by bit. So don't be afraid to ask. Now, once you've got all that figured out, here's what I would suggest you do. Do up a dream board. That's mine and that's Carmen's, okay? But do up a dream board. Have the type of things that you want. The sad part, well, not the sad part, but that house that you see up in the left-hand corner of mine just got sold last week. I can't believe it. 1.3 million, that's all. Only 1.3 million. I would have thought for sure that was going to go for over 2. And it only sold for 1.3. So by the time we look at buying it, we're probably going to now have to fork out the 1.8 because it's just sold for 1.3. But spectacular home overlooking the ocean. I can still see it right through my door. I look at it every single day across the 2 cliffs across the other side. Sorry, got off track there. But put the pictures on the board. These pictures should represent that list of 20 goals. That's what it should represent. Okay, if you've got pictures on there, but they're not in your list of 20 goals, something's not right. That makes no sense at all. Why would you have it written down, but your affirmation and your vision board has something totally different? You got to make sure they marry. Okay, you got to make sure. There's no use. For example, I'll just put this as an example. I like brunettes. That's why I married a brunette. I've always liked brunettes. I've never been a guy when I was younger that was into the blondes. I always liked the brunettes. I like the sultry look. I like that European look. Now, if I want to marry a 6-foot blonde Norwegian on my goal list, but on my vision board I had, Jennifer Lopez, they don't match. There's no comparison whatsoever, okay? That's a silly example, I know, but you know what I mean? So you'll see on here that, on Carmen, she's got my 68 Camaro, all right, which she would love to help me buy. It's on a dream board. Now, you'll notice on mine, it's a Dodge Viper. So I have to change this one because the Dodge Viper is also one of my cars that I want, but it's not my primary goal. It's my secondary goal. I want one of them, but I want the Camaro first. So as of tomorrow, I am taking that picture down and putting my Camaro up here, right? But that's what I mean. Go to the places that you want to see. Don't put up pictures of places that you don't want to go. There's no use having a picture of Waikiki Beach if you don't want to go to Waikiki Beach. Wouldn't be any sense in that, right? So make sure that your vision board matches the goals. Makes a huge difference to this. Because if you're looking at it and you're reading it, but you're looking at one thing and reading something else, then you're giving yourself mixed messages of what you really want to achieve. And I reckon that is about it. The only other thing I did want to put on here, and I haven't, but I will upload it tonight. Let me just pause the recording here for 1 second. Okay, so you got your vision boards. You now know what you want. You now know where it is. It's all matching up and it's all good. And the next step is simple. Now you got to plan it. Now you got to figure the work to get there. Because you can have all the goals written down, you can have all the dreams written down, but the grunt work has to happen, unfortunately, right? You can't expect to gain muscle and not go to the gym. You got to lift the weights, and you got to do it consistently and consistently and consistently. Here's what I know about consistency. If I took the scrawniest guy in the world, the scrawniest, skinniest guy in the world, but he is absolutely 100% committed to putting on some muscle, and he goes to the gym every single day, and he lifts those weights, and he lifts those weights, and he drinks his shakes, and he eats the food, and he lifts those weights, and lifts those. Do you think in 90 days' time that there'd be some difference in that guy's physique? Guaranteed there would be. And if he did that consistently, day in, week in, month out, year in, year out, slowly but surely, he would start to put on some bulk. That's what would happen. Mr. Scrawny Universe could put on 20 kilos of muscle if he did the work. But he's got to lift the weights every day. Now, if he went in and lifted the weights on Monday, and then Tuesday went, well, where's my muscles? Where are they? I lifted weights yesterday. Where's all the muscles? There's not going to be anything. There'd be a slight little change that you wouldn't even notice. He maybe tore a couple of little fibers and it's just starting. But if he kept doing it and he kept doing it and he kept doing it, in 90 times he'd be like, damn, I'm starting to get a little bit of a muscle there. There's a bit of a bulge there. And in 6 months' time, he'd be like, oh my gosh, look, I've got guns. It would happen. It's no different to doing the work in Herbalife. This is the work. Now, whether you like it or not, this is what we have to do. We have to do the work. It's sometimes not what you want to do, but it's what has to happen. choose your 90-day plan DMO, right? And there's just a snippet of what you can do. Now, I'm a bit like what David talked about on the weekend. Circle of influence, people you know, and the walk and talk, they should be absolutely part of your DMO every single day. No ifs or buts. No ifs or buts. Those two have to be done. Then I would pick 2 or 3 others, whatever it happens to be. If you want to do flyers, there's how many you have to do per week. Okay, if you want to do pull tabs, there's how many you need to do per week. Now, I'm not saying they're going to be exactly that, but if you consistently did those numbers consistently over a period of time, the phone's going to ring. And it's only a matter of time before it rings enough, before somebody says, yes, I'll buy your products. Yes, I want to become a member. It's only a matter of time. Okay. Now in Herbalife, the odds seem to be, excuse me for a minute, the odds seem to be about 2 out of 10. Every 10 people that I speak to, normally get 2 that are pretty keen to move forward. Out of every 10 that get started on the products, I find that 2 or 3 want to get registered. Out of every 10 that get registered, 2 or 3 go to supervisor. Out of every 10 that go supervisor, 2 or 3 go world team. That's just about the odds of Herbalife. So if you know what the odds are, just work the odds and just keep doing it. Don't look at the results. Don't look at the goalposts. Don't look at the goal score. Just do the activity, do the activity, do the activity, do the activity. The rest will come. Don't look at the muscles, lift the weights. Don't look at the muscles, just keep lifting the weights, keep lifting the weights. And eventually, guess what? The muscle starts to appear. Eventually, the clients start to appear. You get 1, you get 3, you get 5, you get 10, you get 20, you get 30, and all of a sudden, your business is rocking and rolling, okay? So you have to do the plan. Then you got to action it. Pick your plan, whatever 4 ones you're going to do, and then every day, just get out and get it done. It's as simple as that. You know, every conversation, every phone call, every flyer, every ad, every pull tab, every lucky car spot, every corporate lunch, every walk and talk, every competition box, every survey that you do brings you closer to getting another client. So why wouldn't you choose something over nothing? Now, if you do nothing today, you don't talk to anyone, you don't do a post, you don't do anything, no problems. No problems. You can't get fired in Herbalife. But you've done nothing to build your Herbalife business. So you can't complain when nothing is what you get. Okay? You did nothing, you got nothing. That's a perfect swap. Do some, get some. Do lots, get lots. Do nothing, get nothing. Can't get any fairer than that. This is not a business that says do lots and get nothing. Do little and get nothing. This is a business that says if you do some, you will get some. Okay, so it's an even par on the effort that you're putting in. Now that's good and bad. Good because it means you've got control over it. Bad because it means you've got control over it. Okay, so whatever happens in Herbalife, you can't blame your up line, your cross line, your down line, your front line, your nut line, blah, blah, blah. You've got to take responsibility for yourself, because if you don't do anything, then what do you really expect back? If you're doing a lot, then just know that eventually, through that consistency, the muscle is starting to grow. So that's really all I want to cover on the goal setting. I'm just going to stop the recording here, and then we can open up for some questions.